What do you know about this term? Let's do the same thing we did with symbol. Let's brainstorm a little bit. Tell me everything you've learned about the word allegory. Sydney, start us off. More.
Like an animal farm has one
More. Michael.
It also represents an event.
Okay. More. Ian. Your example? Good. Somebody make me happy and give me the Marxist term for the working class. Thank you. Gosh, I love you people. More?
Like the idea of event in the real world.
Anything else? Okay. I'm going to comment, make some changes, some clarifications, add some information. So I'm going to take from what you've just given me, and I will give you our rock-solid definition of allegory, one that you can use for analysis in the same way that we just use symbolism. First of all, allegory does not involve concrete objects. Symbol was concrete objects. Allegory is not concrete objects. Allegory focuses on characters and events. A character is not a concrete object, not a thing. It's a person. Be that an animal, personified, or a human being, or a robot with artificial intelligence. Doesn't matter, it's a character. Events happen in time. They're not objects either. So we're talking about non-objects. But, so that's different from symbol. Similar to symbol, both of them are representational. And Sydney started us off by thinking about this. The equal sign is a representational move. So they represent outside ideas, events, entire populations, and Christian qualifies something in the real world. And of course, your freshman example was Animal Farm. Animal Farm is an excellent example. However, some problems exist with using it as our model example. The classic expression of allegory does not focus on a connection to real-world people or events. You learned that Animal Farm explored what in history? Russian Revolution. Therefore, Napoleon equals? Oh, come on, Stalin. It's not like I gave you Snowball. Snowball equals? Trotsky. Very good. Old Major equals? Lenin or Marx, depending upon your interpretation. They're both the fathers of that. Farmer Jones. Tsar Nicholas. And then you could even go further and talk about some of the outlying farms and representing Great Britain and Churchill and blah, 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 blah. Moses the Raven might be Rasputin. Whatever. Ian's point is more to the classic definition of allegory. And Sydney's original idea, claim. This is what goes on. In allegories, characters and events represent ideas. Orwell's Napoleon equals Stalin thing is a little bit too superficial, a little bit too direct, a little bit too simple. In allegory, these people, these characters, function just like the symbol did. Complex, rich, containing a number of different abstract ideas. Allegory's classic example, and if you ever have the chance to read some of these, you probably find some online. come from medieval morality plays in Europe. Now, during the Middle Ages, when the Catholic Church and monarchies had control over the populations of Europe, people couldn't read, so they received all their information through either the verbal expression of sermons in church or through entertainment like plays and songs. And the morality plays were efforts to teach the populace how to behave. But morality plays were strongly allegorical. So the protagonist in a morality play wouldn't be named Bob or Frederick, be named something like Everyman. So you might read a morality play where the protagonist's name is Everyman. What does Everyman represent? Everyman. That's right, the common man. It's not very subtle, by the way. The people there weren't exactly educated, so you had to be kind of blunt. And then Everyman might be walking around in his life, and then he encounters a character whose name is Greed. See where I'm going with this? Very simple allegory where one character very obviously represents an idea, but the character doesn't represent the king. The character doesn't represent a priest. The character represents an idea, a quality. So Boxer, representing the working classes, represents a set of behavioral traits. Hard work, loyalty, dedication, everything that Orwell thought about the working classes. That's more of what we're looking for here. What other characters from Animal Farm sort of fit this mold? Who else do we have besides Boxer? The goats, sheep, you mean. And the sheep really represent what? Yeah, commoners. The common people generally. So what the sheep just represent common people generally. Boxer represents a specific type of common person, that being the working classes. Who else do we have? The clergy, yeah, absolutely. So the raven, Moses, equals the clergy. Yeah.
Were the dogs secret police?
Right, the dogs are secret police. So dogs are these this vicious element within a power structure. Oh yeah, Squealer. Squealer represents media. So Squealer represents media and propaganda. So we've got Moses, we've got Squealer, we've got the dogs, and one of my favorites, Molly. You remember Molly? Horse with the ribbons. What does she represent? Yeah, vanity, but the vain aristocratic classes. So the aristocrats. That's a more classic sense of allegory. And that's what we're looking at with a separate piece. Don't think, oh, Finney represents this one person in history. That's superficial. You'll never get anywhere with that. Think, what aspect of human nature does Finney represent? And what aspect of human nature does Jean represent? No, I'll give you a hint. It's not on this list, and it's not on this list.